Hey, what's going on, YouTube? John Lee here. So happy Saturday. And I just thought I would try to kick on this live and see if it's working. If it is, let me know if you're picking up audio, if you're picking up video, if it looks clear or at least half decent. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back. If you're a subscriber, um, I haven't been able to do live videos, so I wanted to do this and see if anybody had any questions or comments or concerns that they'd like to add to the discussion or ask or talk about. So obviously I wanted to give you any kind of update that I had, which I don't have much of an update, except there's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about, which I figured we could kind of go over together, unless you guys want to just play some Street Fighter, which is cool too. But look at this cute picture. Whoop, you can't really see it, but yep, that's my little peanut. So if you're wondering why I'm up so early, that's definitely why. Every day. You thought it was just to bring you the news and the stimulus updates, but it's not. So they are talking about a fourth stimulus. So I don't know if anybody has heard about that or not. They're also talking about taking some of our Second Amendment rights away, which I'm not really okay with. But we can get into that here in a little bit later. Let's see. IRS sent 1 million more stimulus checks in the mail. My special lady, she did get a paper check. I think that was Thursday. But let's just see what it says. The IRS sent 1 million more stimulus checks in the mail, 2 ways to track through the USPS. The post office has really sucked as far as getting people their stimulus checks. I don't know why they wouldn't deliver any type of mail that they get that's like, specifically if it's like a federal check, they won't deliver it or forward it if you've moved or anything. So I'm still curious if everybody has actually received their third stimulus check or not. Be sure and drop it in the comments below, or I'm not sure if you can actually use this live chat or not. So I see somebody's on there. Let me try to punch something in and just see how this works. You'll have to excuse me. I'm still getting used to this. See, I put a comment on there. See if you can see that. Is anybody having coffee or tea or milk or cookies? What's your morning routine? My morning routine is getting the data, getting the juice. Let's see if you haven't gotten your. So they're still sending out some more stimulus checks Friday, Saturday. Today is Saturday, April 10th, 2021. Don't accidentally throw, your stimulus check away. I know people have been talking about that, but be sure you don't throw your stimulus check away by accident, thinking it's junk mail or something like that. Let's see, for those who receive Social Security benefits, including SSI and SSDI recipients, more payments are going out. They were sent out via direct deposit. Veterans who don't, a lot of people didn't file their taxes. A lot of people who don't ordinarily need to or have to file their taxes ran into this issue because obviously they weren't getting their stimulus check and they had, logistical paperwork issues with the Social Security office. And so this is why a lot of people needed to file that either were non-filers or, just weren't getting a stimulus. And the remaining people should be seeing their stimulus by April 14th is what we're hearing as of now from the IRS. I like to just go to their website I know I suggest that to people a lot, but it's where I get a lot of, you know, um, it's where I get a lot of the updates. I didn't realize at first they weren't actually updating things very well. So at some point they did finally start to do that. Or wait, here, let's see. So what are some questions that you guys might be having? I'd be happy to try to find you the information that you're looking for. Let's see. Here's some tax questions. Can you believe this old arcade come with the house? Let's see. Do I need to file a tax return? Well, I think everybody knows that if you didn't file one, you ain't gonna probably get anything. How do I file? File a status dependents exemptions, retirement pensions, IRA, Social Security. What you want? What you want? What you want to know? Child tax credit. Child tax credit's kind of a crazy thing. See, I'm not sure if that's going to be based on your 2019 or if that's going to be based on your 2020. They're supposed to be opening up this portal by July. We had all these issues with being backed up. But I'm curious if anybody has any update about, where they're at. I've seen a lot of people saying that they're still waiting on their stimulus. They're still waiting on their refunds. It is April 10th, so they should still be processing about 1 million, a little over 1 million of those returns per week. I never did see my 2019 amended return, which was a paper amended return. So I'm really not sure, what's going on with that. I really need to check on that now that all of this is, I figured I'd give it a little bit of time. I just got that notice from H&R Block saying that I had missing stimulus. So I filled that out and I faxed it in. And so I'm wondering if there aren't, a bunch of scammers out there trying to get everybody's data and all this crap. So I'm wondering if everybody can hear me or what. So if you can, maybe drop a comment in here, the live chat. I don't think that the chat costs anything because that's my first one. So I don't know if you can see the live chat. If anybody's watching this, can you see the live chat? If you can, type a little something in there, because I'm still trying to figure out if it works or doesn't work. So the webcam on this little computer is not too bad. Evidently, I was having some kind of issue with my other laptop. It wouldn't let me live stream, so I could have got a webcam, but for some reason my Wi-Fi card crapped out and I couldn't get on the line. So let's see what else is going on. Unless somebody actually has a question about something in particular, just let you know what's going on in the world. So there is a new infrastructure plan that's supposed to be rolled out. What I've heard is it's going to be in 2 parts, and basically a bunch of infrastructure. But with all these plans that are being rolled out, it's like 7% of all of them are actually used for what they said that they're going to be used for. So it does seem a little bit ridiculous. One of the first things I like to do in the morning is obviously check my stocks. So if you're not, thinking about your journey to financial freedom, don't forget, you should always be thinking about long-term savings and investments. It's really rainy out today, so it's really kind of crappy. There's a Jackson County reassessment woes. Let's see. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the new iPhones, they don't come with a charger, so you have no way to charge them. I wonder if anybody has any ideas on some good dividend stocks since I got you on here. But see, Bill Maher blasts cancel culture turns summary execution. That cancel culture is really something that's got to go. I mean, we could talk about that for a while, but let's not. It says there are now more jobs available than there was before the pandemic started. So why aren't people signing up? Oh, Jesus. A Florida woman who coughed on cancer patient gets 30 days in jail. God, that's horrible. Which reminds me, I don't know if any of you ever remember hearing that story about that lady that was in a assisted living facility who was in a coma for like 9 or 12 months and ended up having a baby while she was in her coma. Did anyone ever hear about that? It was so jacked up. Like, I can't even believe that. Like, it's so sick. But then, not too long ago, I just saw an article about a gal who was 57 years old and just had a baby. And I thought, that is just crazy, being almost 40 myself and having, a 1-year-old. I can definitely see how that's just a miracle. But let's see if the IRS has any updates for you. I tell you, H&R Block. So here's a funny thing. So there's missing stimulus, and then there's also these plus up payments, and now you've got, a lot of the tax refunds going out. You got a lot of the tax returns that are actually getting caught up on. It's a miracle everybody was banging a 50-year-old. Well, hey, we're not too far from being 50 ourselves. So, but I'm glad that the chat's working. That's good to know. Appreciate that. Earthman 333 sending love out your way. How's the weather out that way anyways? So, let's see, where was I going with that? If you know, just drop it in there. It'll be all right. Let's see. That's how my brain goes. It's just constantly bound. It's like a ping pong ball. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So it's shit. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is here too. That's why it got me a nice cup of coffee, which is now cold. But so all these changes too. So I'd already filed my tax return. Everybody's already filed the tax returns. So all of these changes from this third stimulus package rescue plan, actually, what I'm thinking is going to have some impacts on a lot of people's figures on their AGI. And so I've heard a couple of different things about how your taxes are going to be from the unemployment tax exemption. It will affect your AGI. So that was actually what prevented me from qualifying or being eligible for the child tax credit was my income threshold. I was above the income threshold for that. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Oh, which reminds me, I planted a crabapple tree yesterday in my yard. It's a really pretty tree. Got my garden going, and I'm really happy and excited about that. So I was really sore after running that tiller, but hopefully we'll get some stuff going. So yeah, all of your figures you might check with your tax person. When I talked to H&R Block, they told me, yeah, this is going to change your taxes. And so you're going to want to, so I still need to send in my state taxes. So it was supposed to be like $300, but I'm probably only going to send them 150. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I kind of need the money right now. So I may not send them anything. No, I'm just kidding. But no, when I called up there, they said, hey, I was like, hey, this is going to change what I'm supposed to pay, isn't it? And he's like, oh, wait. And then he's like, yeah, I would only send them 150 for your state. And you should be getting additional amount. So it may change your tax refund. It may change your tax return. They did change my tax return, but then H&R sent me something saying they tried to send me a check that had been bounced or returned. And so then I had to go up there and actually request a form that they said they had no idea existed, and then fill it out and then fax it. So I had to find somewhere where I could fax it. So be sure to check with whoever filed your taxes. Make sure that you don't have to actually file an amended return, because that's what the IRS told everybody, which is you will not need to file an amended return. But as you can see, if your taxes are changed, pardon me, and you could become eligible for other tax credits, then it makes sense why you would want to amend it. So I just want to make it clear that part of the corrections, like the recovery rebate credit, are part of some of the corrections that they're making. But other parts of them, like, they used your 2019 to process your return or to give you certain credits. And then once they process your 2020 return, then it would kick out, generate the remainder or whatever. And so now it's just really confusing. And so you may get part of that sent to you as a plus up payment, but you may have an additional remainder part of your tax refund or your return that still needs to be corrected. And so even though they're saying don't amend your tax return for the unemployment tax exemption credit, doesn't mean that you shouldn't amend your 2020 tax return to now become eligible for like your child tax credit if you're now in a lower income tax bracket. So $5,000 or $10,000 could really make the difference in your eligibility, and so could just have millions of dollars sitting there on the table. Which reminds me, the IRS put out a statement saying, they have 3 years, that we all have 3 years to file for returns, to file for money that's left if you don't collect it within 3 years. So as of 2017, they still had like $1.3 billion worth of money that people are, entitled to, that haven't claimed it or filed a return. So there's a lot of that money that goes out to people who are entitled or eligible for certain, stimulus or benefits. And because they don't hit those people, they don't have a bank account, they don't have, there could be a fourth stimulus check coming. So let's get the scoop on that. So the thing is right now, President Biden is trying to pass this infrastructure bill. And so that's what I had mentioned when I first started this video. There's a good possibility that there could be some additional type of, help or assistance that goes out. And it's probably more than likely going to be through these other programs, not through a direct, not through a stimulus payment. So a stimulus payment is more, if you just think of the word stimulus, it's meant more for, stimulating the economy. And what they're really trying to do is, end poverty and children, and really, bring I think they said 20 to 40 million people out of poverty, and children out of poverty. But so I'm not necessarily, so you've got like you've got a lot of senators on board, and they have, sent letters to President Biden saying we need more. They're talking about $2,000 checks with $1,000 recurrent checks. Some have talked about one-time checks of 2,000 throughout the pandemic. So we still don't know for sure on that as far as what to expect as far as that goes. We do know, with our roads and our infrastructure, we are going to see a lot of it there. But I think it's like $2 trillion. They're like 7% of it's supposed to go to infrastructure. So there's a ton of other stuff. There's housing assistance. There's tons of money going to be pumped back into the school systems and better schools. And I think I heard something like, no one else in the chat has a keyboard. So most of my viewers, and that's the thing about the live. That's why I wanted to have a live. So I don't necessarily know that I really need to type to talk back to you, because I think you can hear what I'm saying. But yeah, that's what it's for. If you have questions, so then I can just see it and I can answer your question and just keep this moving. But everybody knows that I pretty much bring up all the answers to most of the questions that they're going to end up having, just from what I've been running into. But as far as the fourth stimulus package, it's not necessarily something that they're doing to just stimulate, the economy. It's something that they're trying to really stimulate, the culture, which, don't get me started on the cancel culture stuff. That's a whole nother segment. But let's just punch it in and see. Because I've been looking this up, and that's basically what I've been hearing. Calling it a relief payment, which is what they may consider doing. Instead of calling it a stimulus check, they may actually call it like a relief payment. And that's why they're talking about, I think they said, more people have gotten jobs, more jobs have been made available, but fewer people have gone back to work. You still got, tons of people that are still not where they were before the pandemic began. And so that's what's been a huge concern. But obviously accumulating a lot of this debt is a huge concern. So, but I have to say, I've really felt blessed. Illegal immigrants, 15 grand in cash. So I don't think that, I think you have to have a social security number to get the stimulus. But there is a lot of money that's been left on the table, and there's a lot of money that's been put on the table with the PPP loans and just tons of different. They also made tax exemptions for like 100% of food under certain situations, I think throughout the pandemic or through 2020. And so as long as the owner of the business is actually there, and it's not like some crazy outlandish place, it was like 100% tax deductible on food and drinks. So on the illegal immigrants, though, they did change part of the stimulus so that if like the first and second stimulus had different eligibility requirements than like the third. They did make some changes to the third one that made it to where if only one of the spouses had the social security number, then maybe both of them were still able to get a check. But it was supposed to go out to every dependent with a social security number. So, and that could have been one of the changes to that, is that maybe the spouse, I think maybe neither spouse got it before, but at least this time, I think at least one of them were able to get it. So the border is a huge issue. I'm surprised I didn't bring that up earlier. I thought that was, crazy. New York is giving undocumented immigrants 15 grand in cash as a relief. And, I was wondering if they're going to start doing something like that, and that's what I was just saying. I mean, it's been such a relief. Like, I just planted me a new tree. I mean, I've been able to pay my bills, and I mean, people should be working anyways. But, when times are hard and the statistics and the economists are saying, people are still struggling, the numbers are still down, we still don't have people back to work, you gotta, I mean, you gotta do something. But so that was one of the things about the fourth stimulus check. So whether or not there'll be another stimulus package, so to say, to stimulate the economy, um, they would have to raise. They're talking about raising the taxes from like the high earning tax from like I think it's what was it 21% to like 28%. And so the House has the option through reconciliation to pass legislation without it actually having to have even one Republican um, vote, which is how they got all of these passed. And I think that they can do like 3 per year. And so they've obviously used one. And so, you know, um, but they claim they want to try to do bipartisan, type of legislation, but that's really not what's happening with the reconciliation process. And so that's the thing. Um, to try to get, you know, the tax hike is just, there's even Democrats that aren't on board with that. And so you would really have to have a unanimous vote for the reconciliation. They're still trying to push the $15 federal minimum wage. What else was there? Which I think, I'm either way on that. It's uh, whatever the people think. I did see that Amazon's employees were, whoa, sorry about that. I did see that Amazon employees were trying to unionize Amazon, and Amazon was against the idea of its employees obviously trying to form a union, but it was actually in favor. Jeff Bezos, man, talk about stock, man. That's something that I really want to talk to a lot of people about is investing in their future and, really moving towards financial freedom. Because think about it. If you were, you know, had financial freedom and, money wasn't an issue, none of this pandemic, if you were just home and you were able to just not worry about money, you could spend more time with your family, you could spend more time with your friends, you could spend more time, doing and finding the meaning and purpose that feels right to you, that doesn't feel like this constant rat race of trying to make ends meet. And, something like this pandemic happens, and all of a sudden, they say to have 3 months worth of saving, all of a sudden you find yourself up creek without a paddle. And so that's why I started investing in some of these stocks. Yeah, the stocks can crash, but I don't think people realize I had money in my 401k, but that's a risk too. So um, I wanted more control and more power. I feel like I can pay better attention and make better investments. Yeah, you can do something real general and like a mutual fund, or the S&P, just spread it out and be real diverse. But I like taking risks on some bigger companies, and I just have more of an interest in certain types of vision. And so I think it's a great idea to start thinking about that sort of thing. So if you do get stimulus, you get a good tax return, don't be afraid to start setting up a dividend portfolio so that you can start earning dividends. A lot of these companies are paying like a different percentage, but they pay like quarterly. And so even if it's just a small $3 stock or a $5 stock or a $6 share, or maybe it's okay. So I actually made a video on the top 12 dividend stocks that I thought, had the best outlook. And so I just think that would be a good idea if, I think it's a good idea for me. I think it's a good idea for everyone. Independent, financial freedom is really, I think, liberating and empowering and inspirational. So you got to learn to think smarter and work smarter, not harder. Not that there's anything wrong with hard work. You put that same work ethic of how to work hard into how to work smarter. So it's not just work smarter by being lazy. It's making wiser decisions and making smarter choices. which, a lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. But if you could just get the ball rolling, we all, have extra money every once in a while. But you got to learn to live within your means. That's how I ended up buying a house, was having the goal, doing my research, finding out what I needed, putting it up on my whiteboard. For me, that's just how I learn best, or with an arcade behind me. And I just followed the steps. I worked on my credit. I had the same job for 2 years, and just really stay focused. And I bought my first house making less than $40,000 a year. So that's just a perfect example of how, dreams can come true, and good things come to those who are patient and those who are motivated and devoted and committed to their goals. Um so yeah, got my garden set up, and we're gonna have hopefully a beautiful crop. And with all this weird shit going on, you never know if there's going to be toilet paper, or there's going to be vegetables and produce, and the market and everything. It's so volatile all the time. I feel so much better knowing that I can just grow my own food. Obviously, we still need meat, but hey, it's a start. And that's the thing. The sooner you start moving towards where you want to be in life, the sooner you'll get there. It's when you never actually make those moves towards actually getting to where you want to be, that you can never look back and say, oh yeah, I could see how I got here instead of here. And you know stay closer to staying focused about where your aim is. If you have no idea what you want, where you want to be in 5 years or 10 years, then keep floating, I guess. But um stock it to the rafters. That's what I'm saying. I mean, why not? I mean, that's what you got to do. You have to excuse me. This is how I roll in my office, because my office is in my garage. So I still haven't been able to monetize. So this is, the goal. You asked about the fourth stimulus check. That's basically what I got for you. I don't think we're going to actually see an actual stimulus check, but what other questions do you got? Where did the IRS get my bank information for the third economic impact payment? Your bank account information cannot be changed. That's one thing I thought that was really crazy, is that, like, they know that, they messing with people's money, and they sent out, these checks, which I never got a debit card. So I never had a paper check. I just had some missing stimulus. But I did change banks, and I did move, and these are things that happen every day in business. And so for the IRS to not be able to make those changes is ridiculous. So the bank account information in the Get My Payment came from one of the following sources: your 2020 tax return, your 2019 tax return, if your 2020 return was not processed when the IRS started issuing payments. See, and I thought that it had something to do like that, because they pulled like part of my updated banking information, but then sent me the wrong amount. So I don't think that my return was processed all the way, but they did have my updated information, so they used it to send the wrong stimulus amount to the right bank. And ultimately, that was the important thing, was that they had the banking information correct, because when they tell you can't even change it, then you're at the mercy of the the USPS and the debit card and H&R Block. I don't know why they had all these tax companies tied up in the middle of the stimulus. Like, I feel like, with the treasury involved, that's one thing that I was trying to say earlier, was all the money that people haven't collected. So if you have money that's owed to you and all these benefits, and you were a non-filer and you didn't file, so you just lost out. Now the IRS is saying $1.3 billion is sitting on the table from 2017, and you're about to no longer be able to claim it. If that happens, it will go back into the state treasury fund. So you might look into that. And that's why, some people, that's why I'm making these videos, so that maybe somebody might be scanning through here and be like, hey, wait a minute, I might be one of these people that should be getting this, and maybe they can use some of my information to help them, in the right direction of how they would need to go about doing that, or, be an outlet for them. Speaking of which, if you do like videos like this, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button for me and ring the bell for notifications. Feel free to jump in the live chat, like Earthman333 has been very engaging and a great participant. Always get all my banking information from out of your trash bag from the front yard. Well, so that's probably how my stimulus got messed up. So you got to watch out for a-holes like Earthman333, because they'll hit me up every time, and you might end up getting a case. But so that's a great segue into my sponsorship of this video is by Wisecam 3 home cam models, webcams. No, but I did get a Wisecam version 3, and I do think that you guys should check them out. They're actually pretty affordable. They actually work really good. I did a review on them not too long ago, and it actually worked out really well. And I use it for a baby monitor, and it hooks up to the Wi-Fi. It's nice. It's small. They're indoor, outdoor cams, like 30, 40 bucks. I actually want to get a couple more of them. But back to the tax information. You see how easily I get sidetracked? Can you imagine being my brain just boom, 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 boom? Yeah, not okay. Information you entered on your non-filer registration in 2020. So they did use some of the non-filer registration information. So my chick has 2 other kids. I think they might have missed the stimulus, and she didn't file for 2020. And so if this credit ends up, not showing up till next, what is it, be next year for next tax season. I mean, that's just crazy, which I still think they owe me $700 for my amended return for last year. I think I'm gonna have to file an amended return for my business. This is why I didn't file my business stuff with this. I mean, can you imagine what a mess it would be if I filed my drone business taxes with this and it got all hemmed up and there was all this stuff along the way? No way. That's why I file them. I want to file them separately. And so I do one, it gets completed, processed, and then I amend it or something. But that's because it's such a pain in the ass. So they did use some of your information from 2019 or from your 2020 from the non-filers, which they should have for the child tax credit. They should have, depending on your eligibility, you should have that portal open by July 1st. But my best guess is that they're still going to be a little behind. But they have been making good headway. So that's the information you entered on Get My Payment in 2020. You could have put the information there on your Get My Payment tool, a federal agency that provides you benefits. This may include the Social Security Administration, Veterans Affairs, or the Railroad Retirement Board. So all of those could have updated your information. Can you say hello to Esther? What's up, Esther, out there in the LS? What up? Keeping it real, staying dry and warm with my homie. What up? That is pretty cool, ain't it? Do shout out to your peeps. I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know how to, so I just got this new computer so that I could actually start doing some live streaming, keep people up to date. I think it's going to be great for, so my goal is I have to get 1,000 subscribers. If any of you guys are familiar with YouTube or how it works, I try to make these videos that are educational, informative, or, reviews on products or how to make your YouTube channel better and grow, la-di-da-di-da. But in order to monetize, YouTube has changed the rules and regulations for that and requires 4,000 hours of watch time within 365 days. So within the last year, it's a rolling cart, it's just constant revolving wheel. So in 1 year, you have to have 4,000 watch hours of your videos and 1,000 subscribers. So I'm at almost 700 subscribers. My channel's really been doing a lot better since I've been doing these stimulus and tax return updates. So I'm probably going to continue doing stuff like that. Seems to be helping out a lot of people. Misery loves company. So we're all kind of in this together. So I think that is, really cool to have the opportunity to try to collaborate, put your heads together. Two heads are better than one. So, imagine 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 heads are better than one. So thank you again for those who have been a part of my community. And I look forward to having a better 2021. I can't believe it's already April. And so I'm thinking maybe once a week, I'll start doing these live videos. I might do them more frequently. It just depends on what's going on. So I might have to update my coffee. But so if anyone has any other questions, be sure and drop them in there. Hey, I appreciate that, brother. Speaking of which, I need to holler at you later. Let's see what else. Who's got something else for me? So I started doing this. So I got this new computer. Trying to stimulate the economy. Hey, that's what it's all about. Go out there, spend your stimulus, save it, invest it, be smart. Stock up on goods, stock up on things that you need. I don't know what's up with. There's so much going on in the world. You got two new executive orders. I kind of want to know what those are on the guns. I think it had to do with, family members being able to actually petition to prevent people in their family from being able to buy firearms. Two new executive orders for Second Amendment. I heard something about it and I thought, man, that's really crazy. Let's see, it was 3 days ago. The Biden-Harris administration announces initial actions to address the gun violence public health epidemic. It's funny how every time one of these, shootings happens or something, then they want to come out with, some legislation to try to do stuff like this. And now you really have to understand the importance of being able to, the right to, why we have our Bill of Rights in the first place, why we have the Constitution in the first place. The right to bear arms is just that. And so it's just a right that you have. So good luck to, the politicians and the body of government of and for the people trying to take away the people's own form of defense. So I just don't see that happening. Let's see. This is on the whitehouse.gov. And so just so you know where I'm getting my source, it's from April 7th, 2021. And just a heads up, I probably won't let this run past an hour. So if you do have any questions or comments, be sure to, or updates or anything. I love to hear your stories, and your updates helps everybody out, not just me. Put them in the live chat or drop them in the comments. Today, the Biden-Harris administration is announcing 6 initial actions to address the gun violence public health epidemic. The gun violence public health. Oh, I just read that twice. I need more coffee. Let's see. The recent high-profile mass shootings in Boulder, taking the lives of 10 individuals, and Atlanta, taking the lives of 8 individuals, including 6 Asian American women, underscored the relentlessness of this epidemic. See, I don't even like hearing and reading their bullshit because, all I know is it's going to turn out to, it's some type of way of trying to take away my Second Amendment right. And, to legislate, tiny rules to take little parts of it away, to me, are just as bad. So, it's like the freedom of speech thing. Like, I really should do a whole nother video on that because, I really feel strongly about, obviously, the non-censorship. You guys get your information directly from me, and who knows where I get my information. But the point is from me to you, there's no middleman, and you can trust that, it's not washed, and it's not, anything other than what I honestly, legitimately think it is. And I'm only relaying, the absolute truth, the best that I can know it to be truth to you. So I think that's a great thing to have. And so I know there's been a lot of censorship, and there's been a lot of talk about censorship, especially with these big tech companies. But then there's also been a lot of talk about this anti-racist inclusion and diversity training, which, I made a video on that, but I don't think a lot of people were very interested in that. So which I think is ironic, because if the tables were turned, I think a lot of people would be interested in that. So I just like to point out things like that. But if you have questions or comments about that, definitely be sure and drop them in the comments. Let's see. His call for Congress should close those loopholes. Oh, something about domestic violence abusers might not be able to get firearms, which, I still just don't know. Let's see. Which is another thing that's actually really kind of wild is I think it was Chuck Schumer had reached out to Joe Biden saying federally they're going to be passing and legalizing or declassifying marijuana as no longer federally illegal. Obviously, the Biden-Harris campaign are hypocrites on this, but the cool thing is that Congress sees the potential. All this bad stuff that for so many years it has been claimed. We're getting to a place where it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out where things have already worked and where they don't. And so New York, I believe, has now passed legalization for marijuana. But the bigger picture and the bigger scope here is the news about Chuck Schumer telling Joe Biden, look, whether you're on board or not, this is something that, they send him letters explaining, all the bad stuff. This is something that we really need. And we're going to move forward with it, whether we have your approval or not. So, which is really cool to know that even if you do, you have this difference of power and you have, these different branches of government. And so, I think that's something that I've always thought was really cool was the way our power is diversified, in our government, to where it's not one omnipotent power controlling and, overbearing and becoming a tyrannical, essence of something, that there's such a huge disconnect between the people and the government that it's elected to, run it. So for the people. Stupid constitutional God-given rights. Who needs them? Am I right? Yeah, no one needs them. You might as well just boil yourself in a pot until you've boiled yourself into non-existence because you just like the warm bath. Let's see. Justice Department, 60 days will issue make clear. But this was another. The Justice Department within 60 days will issue a proposed rule to make clear when a device marketed as a stabilizing brace effectively turns a pistol into a short-barreled rifle, subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. So that makes absolutely no sense. So you want to know if I can put a piece on my pistol? I'm just like, and this other thing, I mean, it makes sense. Like, I don't think crazy people should have guns. But people can have guns and people happen to be crazy. So that presents a problem. So I just think that the important takeaway from the Second Amendment is that each and every one of you needs to have the ability, and you actually have the constitutional right to defend yourself and your family and your property. Okay, it's not a big deal. And since so we've established that people have the right to bear arms, and we've established that there's crazy people out there, and we've established that there's crazy people out there that may end up getting firearms. The thing is that someone will always be able to get a firearm. And so what you need to do is empower the good guys to be able to protect their families and their homes and their property from the bad guys. It's really simple. You have to make sure that you're able to defend your home and your castle. Otherwise, you'll get conquered. And that's not the kind of place that we live in. Unfortunately, I do feel like it's headed more that way. I mean, look at what a mess the IRS and the government is. We also have, deals going with China that haven't been going real good. And I look forward to talking about some of that as well. But some of these laws, I feel like, they use these shootings, these mass shootings, which I wouldn't even consider it a mass shooting. I swear, if like 8 people get shot, or if somebody goes into a mass of people and they shoot one person, they still consider it a mass shooting. So to me, which I guess they've never really played GTA or Call of Duty, because and I'm not making light of the situation. I'm just saying, when you know I go into them levels, that's a mass shooting, and and you're playing online. I mean, it's just mowing people down. Okay, so I don't really consider that mass shooting, but the point is that the crazy person, you can't penalize everybody else and take, law-abiding citizens' constitutional rights away because there's bad people that do bad things that are crazy. So that's really the bottom line there. The second that you start doing things like that, you know, you start giving away part of yourself that no one has a right to take away from you. So it's important that you don't dilute your own resolve. So stand up for what's right. That's what you got to do. That's why I'm a Libra. I represent, justice and fairness and equality. That's my sign. That's my spirit animal is pure truth and fact and reason, with logic and ration. So, I feel those are good foundational fundamentals. So let's see what we got here. Oh, Jen Snow. Somebody else finally wrote in. President Biden doesn't hate guns. He's just getting rid of assault rifle. Good. Aren't y'all tired of people dying? Or some y'all don't care because it wasn't your family member or friend. See, and that's why I didn't want it to come across the wrong way. Because it's not that, I've lost very close, one of my best friends when we were kids to incidental, accidental. It wasn't gun violence, it was gun carelessness. And so there's all kinds of really depressing and sad stories. I mean, this stuff is not for the lighthearted. Protecting our homes and our families isn't something to be taken lightly. It's something that you need to protect with everything you have. So guns are so crazy. I walked by one the other day and it tried to attack me. Like verbally attacked me. PTSD. So that's what I'm saying. So you didn't get your Jen Snow. She didn't get her second stimulus or your third one. I'm giving up. Never give up. You can't ever give up. That's when you've allowed the system to beat you. And I had you can postpone your, you get your SSDI. Well, what I was reading was April 14th. It was just not too long ago, April 14th. If you hadn't got it, stuff was still going out this weekend. So, never give up hope. You can't give up hope. The second that you've given up hope, then you've lost, then you've lost purpose, you've lost meaning, you've lost happiness, you become resentful. I know what that feeling is like, but don't ever get me wrong as far as gun violence, gun control, and gun freedom. I think they're totally separate things. And I know that maybe we should save that for another video, but that's definitely something that's going on in the news very recently. And so that's something that, I think people need to kind of pay attention to, whether it's through, another outlet or whether it's here on my channel. Speaking of which, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Trying to hit my 4,000 hours of watch time, which, in case you guys didn't know, to reach 4,000 hours of watch time, you actually need to, people would have to have watched 166 days of your content round the clock, 24 hours a day. Like that's a lot of material. So I've really had to try to step it up a notch and bring it, the best value that I can for the freeness. So thanks again for stopping by. I'm John Lee. That's pretty much all I got for you this morning. Jen, don't forget, April 14th. Be looking for your payments. Anyone else has any other updates, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Look forward to hearing about it. Until next time, I'm on to the next one.